Welcome to the OpenUSD Insiders live stream, everybody. We are so excited for today's episode. I've got a very special guest joining me. That's how excited I am. Jamie Allen, welcome.
Thank you, Edmar. Incredible to be here. OpenUSD and our community around Omniverse and USD is one of the most magical things that I get to work on at NVIDIA. So I'm really excited to be here.
And speaking of magical, I can't imagine a more magical team than the one we're going to bring on the show in a few minutes. None other than Monks. We have some very key developers from the Monks team joining us. We're going to go over AI agents for marketing and content creation. Basically, we're going to learn how Monks and NVIDIA Omniverse are partnering to transform marketing for the AI era. It's going to be a super exciting hour. We are very interested in taking your questions and your comments throughout the live stream. Let us know where you're watching from in the live chat. If you are working with some of the tech we're talking about along the way, let us know. Feel free to ask your questions. We're gonna get to them throughout the hour, and then we'll do a lightning round at the end, most likely. Before we bring on our great guests, let's talk a few minutes about what's coming up, and actually just several weeks from now, which is SIGGRAPH 2025, which is obviously such an important event for NVIDIA. It's where researchers from all over the world share their papers. We have sessions, we have labs, lots of partners are going to be there. It's just going to be a fantastic week. I hope those that can join us on site in Vancouver, I hope you can make it, and let us know if you are going. I'll put a link on in a second so you can join our WhatsApp group if you're going to be on site, so we can coordinate some coffee and lunch dates and help you with anything you might need there. This QR code will bring you right to the overview of everything we got planned for SIGGRAPH 2025. Jamie, I know a lot of the team right now is all focused on SIGGRAPH. We've got all hands on deck.
Yep.
Why is SIGGRAPH so big to you?
Well, I mean, I've been going to SIGGRAPH for many years. My background before NVIDIA, I used to help build visual effects studios and worked with, all the big studios based in London, around the world. I think if you look at the history of what's come out of SIGGRAPH, it's really driven the advancements in 3D and simulation, and now into robotics and all these amazing places that have founded and have their foundations in the expertise around 3D. And so for us, SIGGRAPH has always been deep at the heart of NVIDIA, operating at the intersection of art and science. I'm incredibly excited to see the stuff that we're going to be doing there with our amazing researchers. Mingyu and Sanya going to be doing some incredible talks there. And our partners who present just amazing technology at SIGGRAPH is always just an incredible thing to see.
It's going to be a ton of fun. That's a great overview of why it's so important. On the screen now, you just mentioned some of the very special guests we have. They're going to be speaking there. This QR code will bring you to those special addresses. Some of this stuff will be available online, so don't worry if you can't make it there. It's a long way to go for some folks, so it's going to be content that's going to be about virtual. The community team will be there. So if you have any needs and you can't attend, but you're like, hey, I really would like you to connect me with this person who I just spoke with, absolutely, let us know. You can reach me anytime, edmar@nvidia.com, or on the Discord server, where the community gathers, and we have a special channel set up specifically for SIGGRAPH. So that QR code will bring you to that page there. We also have a very special day-long event revolving around OpenUSD. As Jamie said, OpenUSD is one of those super exciting things, the foundational connection of all Omniverse. So we have OpenUSD. That QR code will bring you directly to all the sessions and events planned, including a meetup that we have scheduled for that evening. So it's going to be a lot of fun, a lot of great networking opportunities, not only with partners and NVIDIA's, but also with developers engaging and meeting each other. I've seen so many magical connections happen for these on-site events. It's just, someone once told me that even if they get one great meeting out of an event, the whole event is really worth it. And I've seen many people have many great meetings at these events. Here's that SIGGRAPH WhatsApp group I mentioned a few minutes ago. So if you are going to be there on site, this code is for you. If you're not going to be attending on site, then definitely just leverage the Discord server where I have the SIGGRAPH channel. Otherwise, if you're going to be in Vancouver, absolutely join this WhatsApp group and you can start chatting with us right now. There you go. Jamie's going to take.
There you go.
Well, he's capturing it live, so now we know that code works. And actually, Jamie, I should have mentioned. Why don't you tell a bit about yourself and your role here in NVIDIA, and why did you come to this one?
Good point. So I've been in NVIDIA 9 years now. I started. I was working very much broadly on the media and entertainment ecosystem in the European region. Last couple of years, my focus has been squarely on bringing reinvention and evolution to areas like advertising technology and digital marketing technology. And a big part of what we've been doing is how do you evolve the content supply chain for marketing content and ads? And a lot of that is founded in creating digital twins of products, whether it's a car or a shampoo bottle or whatever it is. And that's where the power of OpenUSD really comes into play. And that's what, our amazing friends and partners at Monks are going to talk through a lot today. Having seen the evolution of USD and now OpenUSD over the last, however many, 15, 20 years, it's incredible to see now like brands like L'Oreal and Unilever and Coca-Cola leveraging it and understanding it in ways that a few years ago was, beholden to visual effects studios and Pixar and things like that. So that's the journey that we're on, and that's the ecosystem that I have the pleasure of looking after here at NVIDIA.
It's amazing. And the three special guests we have here for the Monks team, you guys are going to be blown away by the content we're going to show off. Speaking of which, to get things started, let me show a quick video showing off some of the Monks work, and then we're going to bring on our very special guests. Check out this reel. It's fantastic.
Don't blink. Every second is a moment of change. Bottom lines are breaking. Channels are fragmenting. Technology tears up the script. The industry is clouded in complexity, and the old playbooks are obsolete. Monks were born out of an urge to change things, the original digital natives of marketing and technology, bringing harmony, focus, and flow to the industry. We're orchestrating and reshaping how clients show up in the world, helping outmaneuver and outpace their competition, making work that's worth people's time. The past is a graveyard of mistakes repeated again and again. The future is a blur of thoughts, dreams, speculation, and expectation. We are the builders, designers, engineers, and pioneers, the makers and innovators for today. We are the architects of now.
Absolutely amazing. It's so cool. Monks works with some global brands that everyone watching will recognize. Let's bring on the team right now. We've got Susan. Hey, Susan.
Hi. Nice to meet everybody.
Nice to meet you. So glad for joining us. Peter. Hey, Peter.
Hello, everyone.
And then, of course, we've got Emra. Hey, Emra.
Hello, everyone.
We are so thrilled you're happy that you're joining us today. Like I mentioned in our warm-up, so much of our community, highly background in creatives, leveraging OpenUSD, and now with all the advancements in AI happening so quickly, it's so cool to be able to discuss this with a team like yours, who are really embracing the technology in real time, and so excited to learn more about how you're leveraging Omniverse. Before we start, why don't we do a quick introduction? Like Susan, why don't you tell what your role here is at Monks?
Sure. So my name's Susan Foley, and I'm the Senior Vice President of Innovation at Monks. My background is really in 3D application engineering and technical direction and development in the content creation space. I've worked for companies like Activision Blizzard, Autodesk, on the VFX dev teams at places like Digital Domain, MPC, Method, et cetera. So at Monks, I advise our clients at the senior level on basically how to implement agentic workflows into their organizations to solve their pain points across the entire ecosystem. So not just with content creation, but insights and briefing all the way through to delivery and performance. And I also help them leverage NVIDIA solutions and advise them how to be more efficient in their organization.
Absolutely amazing. Wow, what a great background. Thank you so much for coming today. And you brought a couple of your good friends here. Emra, can you tell us a little about your background?
Yes, of course. My name is Emra, VP of Computational Creativity and Innovation, and I oversee the design and implementation of agentic systems that act as a creative collaborators. And around research and development, I mostly focus on how people and intelligence systems create together and how we can approach to the paradigm shift around creativity.
That's amazing. I love that title, Computational Creativity Innovation. That's absolutely amazing. So I'm really excited to hear more about what you're going to share in a few minutes. And then we have Peter. Hey, Peter.
Hello, everyone. I'm Peter. I'm VP of Technology at Monks. I focus on building interactive experiences and leading our in-house development team. And I do support our NVIDIA partnership on technical side and help implement NVIDIA technologies. including Omniverse, adapting OpenUSD, NIMs, and other SDKs across all our projects. And my day-to-day, I think, is mostly about innovation, creative tech, 3D, and past few years, it's pretty heavy on AI.
Absolutely amazing. We're super excited to show everybody what you brought today. I think, Susan, you're going to kick things off?
I am. Peter, do you want to share?
And I think he is already. There you go.
There we go. So yeah, we are the Monks. If you want to go to the next slide, just to give you a little bit of context about who we are, we're a technology and creative services company. We have about 7,000 employees globally, and we are located in 33 countries around the world. And we are really changing the face of AI within the ecosystem. We really pride ourselves on being fast and first in AI and to really disrupt those outdated business models and really build the tools that drive the innovation that you're seeing today. I think we're on the right track. I know we're on the right track. I didn't know a lot of our client partners agree on the side. So we assist in building their agentic future. If you want to go to the next slide, we exist in this space, and there's a tension where the VC firms are funding these AI native companies to eat all the services profit pool. And this is where ambitious CMOs work really closely with their CTOs and CIOs to unify how they serve their customer through AI. So for example, like AI factories, token creation in one place, et cetera. And we solve the speed and scale and the spend issues. And we do this by really working inside the enterprise to navigate the opportunity, by having the talent to deploy very quickly, and by migrating all kinds of services to compute, and by transforming the marketing supply chain. So that makes us a great orchestration partner. We're called an orchestration partner at every level. As I said, we serve the CMO and the CTO to offer and really deliver those systems at scale. So to put it another way, so in the media workflow specifically, it's really important for us to think about the Omniverse as a dev toolkit, and we integrate it into our agentic solutions and workflows. And we look at sort of what it takes, we address the pain points of our clients, and we look at all those endpoints, and all the while running on an AI factory. Next slide. And we're helping migrate services to compute for our customers so that they can really build their own moat, if you will, through owned intelligence. And then our next slide is just a, shameless little plug here. Mugs has been named the One Show's first ever AI Pioneer organization. And in Cannes, we picked several awards. So we talk a lot about the art of possible, or now we say the art of impossible. And we really strive to create our own path and be fast and first.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and this is a slide that I really love to talk about because this describes our partnership with NVIDIA. We are a preferred SDP partner, and that basically means that we develop the solutions to consumer problems or use cases that really that embed the best sort of NVIDIA technology, from Omniverse to OpenUSD to NIM blueprints. And additionally, we bring business intelligence from across the four key industries: the retail, media and entertainment, the automotive, and technology. And we have an internal agentic advisory that works really, really closely with the CMOs and the CTOs to get that traction and really build quickly. And we try to keep it simple by saying that there's really kind of two types of use cases. There's that sort of content creation, which is one area, and that content distribution. So whether it's a use case in scaled content like email or CRM or marketing ops or media, even live broadcast, it falls into usually one of those two buckets. And the key to our success has really been three things, and that's keeping our customers at the center of everything. We build an orchestration platform, our internal tool, Monks Flow, which is like the Lang chain for the CMO's team. And the third is by training and certification as much talent as possible. And not just the engineers internally, but there's a ton of them, of course, but the whole group as a whole, from sales to all the way through delivery.
Amazing.
And then this is just our solution roadmap, a sort of from here to there. We have a growing portfolio of use cases on accelerated GPUs, everything from live cloud production to CRM, Monks Flow pathways to our CAD to content and digital twins. And there's a lot more that's coming down the pipe, which we'll talk about a little bit later. But with that, I will hand off to Peter to get into our solutions.
Thank you. And today we will speak mostly about digital twins and our solutions built on Omniverse. And there is a lot of discussion recently about physical AI, which, as you know, is changing not only the economics and the way we work of the factories, but the whole industries. So usually we do advise our customers and clients to digitize their solutions, visualize it, simulate their processes, and optimize at much faster speed than they can do in real world testing. And it applied across various use cases. The main benefits we see is operational optimization. You can optimize layout, workflows, asset creations, and test and simulate your processes and allow faster iterations, which then lead to real-time decision making and ultimately faster time to market. If it's content, any new process you want to implement, AI transformations, and so on. And once you do have this digital twin solution simulating your processes or helping your workflows, then it enables you to scale the operations globally. So let's look at some Monks Omniverse solutions we do have. So we start with creating digital twins either by our own team in-house or if the clients have them, and then we use them mainly in asset production, so cut to content, where we bring 3D models and generate various content, images and videos, and so on. Next, once we do have those digital twins already, and they are configured, they have a lot of variations, then kind of like natural next step is creating product configurators and make those digital twins more interactive for the public. Then on the larger scale, we work with digital twins for spaces, buildings. We hope to do more in industrial space, maintenance processes, production lines, and so on. And we see demanding growth for synthetic data, for AI and robotics. So I will have also some use case for that. And here is maybe a quick setup how our Omniverse solution works. And it's very reusable. So it usually starts with OpenUSD 3D files. Then we have our Kit app application where we use Kit SDK. Often we use Omniverse blueprints, which you can find at nvidia.com, which kind of are our base, and then we build on top of it, add any service API we need, any extensions we need. And then on the server side, we have rendering, which is using KitApp streaming back to our front-end UI applications for the users. And then on the cloud deployment, you have a couple of solutions, GDN and GC. Those are just a couple of things to mention. And then on the right side, you can see a bit of our quick start. Not only our developers or our creatives ask us how they can start, but probably also the community wonders. So from my side, 3 things to recommend. First one is Omniverse Kit SDK, where you can use templates to build easily Kit-based applications. And we basically start there. We usually take the template either for USD Composer or Viewer, then have a streaming to web browser where we have our UI, and then we use either existing extensions or we build our own extensions. Second important thing we use are blueprints, which I mentioned at buildnvidia.com. You can find a couple. I listed maybe the most prominent for our use cases is mostly for 3D conditioning and generative AI, which will be explained later. Then there is also guided generative AI for 3D environments, let's say. Digital humans, we also have AI avatar for conversational AI. And there is one upcoming one which is super exciting, and it's for AI factories, the design and operational processes. So you can already see, I didn't see it released yet, but that's where we keep our eyes, and hopefully we can test it soon. And last thing is Deep Learning Institute. A lot of our education comes from there, and I listed one, a good course for you to check. It's 2 hours, it's free, and it gives you good insight how to build your first Kit-based application.
This is so helpful to the community. Thank you so much for listing all these things. We talk about a lot of these things separately, but it's cool to see your recommendations going from start to finish here.
Yeah.
And it's also really cool to see that a company like Monks doing amazing work, with global teams, that you actually are leveraging the templates and the blueprints to get started with some of your work, and then you customize them. I think that's the power. And I think what I hear a lot is that some companies, when they're just coming into digital twins, for example, they're a little intimidated because they're like, oh my gosh, where do I get started? I have to do everything from scratch. But the reality is, as you're showing here, that there's a lot of getting started and things that are really going to get you ramped up with some the templates and the blueprints, for example, so that you do not have to start from ground zero. So that's really cool that you leverage those.
And usually, like these kind of like POCs or early prototypes are done by one person or two people.
Wow.
So
It's even more compelling.
Yeah. And
There's
usually,
something I want to double click on something as well here and I don't want to be it to be lost in the reason that you're able to build these new solutions, like go into factories and robotics, isn't because necessarily, I know you actually have a great robotics team, but that concept of a digital twin that's a single source of truth and understanding USD as a base technology is allowing Monks and other people in the ecosystem to go and look at AI factories and operations optimization. Because you don't need to necessarily go and learn a whole new way of building a 3D representation of a factory, because you've got that core understanding in that USD ecosystem and how to build complex digital twins. So it's enabling Monks to build these new service lines and bring expertise in from core 3D, like Susan's amazing background in visual effects and 3D, and applying that to AI factories is an amazing superpower that I think an understanding of USD brings a company like Monks, and it's incredible to see us going in this direction. I've been telling Peter and his team that they need to do more in robotics for about 3 years now, and I'm incredibly excited that we're getting this work happening.
Yeah, and that's great call and a great point. Exactly like you said, like we were building applications in the past, but creating new work streams, new solutions is much faster and easier when you have blueprint as your base, basically.
Here's a good comment from Colin here on YouTube. It looks like a good tool to use to demonstrate a new lean industrial process on the production floor before implementing.
Yeah. And it offloads lots of backend, lots of server-side settings for streaming and so on. So plug and play. I would really recommend everyone to try a couple of those.
To Colin's point as well, I just want to say, I've been involved in Omniverse pretty much since its inception. Some of the first meetings that we ever had in London with Rev, who's the head of the whole team that runs Omniverse, was with people like Foster and Partners and Arab. And they saw that opportunity 5 or 6 years ago to revolutionize industrial processes and planning these huge projects of manufacturing and construction. And obviously since then, that's evolved in a huge way. So Colin is absolutely correct that those processes that are traditionally highly fragmented, incredibly expensive, relatively inefficient. Apologies to my friends in the construction industry. But yeah, 100%. Like those processes are what are being evolved right now.
Yep, and we saw some evolution of whole Omniverse ecosystem past 2 years, let's say, through avatars, but also this first use case, which we built for GTC last year, 2024. And the base was very similar. It had back then USD Composer running with custom extension, which was connected to generative AI pipeline, which was generating textures for 3D model. And then we were using already CloudXR back then was the name for streaming to the iPad application, and the iPad application was XR AR application. You could place your objects and preview them whenever you want. So this was our base already almost like 1.5, 2 years ago. So internally we had this running, and then our studio team was working on this new agentic AI pipeline, a workflow for content creation, and they had Sneaker as a digital twins. So then we got together internally and we were like, how we can plug this Omniverse solution to this agentic AI workflow. And we basically adapted this solution, didn't focus on the sneaker itself. We keep it as is, but we focus on the background and guiding the 3D scene behind the shoe. And we have a short video to explain shortly how it all worked. Edmar, if you can play it.
Okay, you ready? This is the Puma one, right? Here we go.
Diesel one, yes. So as you can see, like we started with the USD 3D scene. We had Composer keyed up. we bring everything together, sneaker, background, and in the background we could play with different objects. And basically every layer we could prompt separately. Then it got stitched together. We got a perfect product shot with 100% product. And then that shot went to the Agentic AI workflow and was integrated in the Puma use case. And I will pass it to Emra to tell you more about how it all worked.
Amazing.
Yes, of course. Thank you so much, Peter. Do we want to play the Puma video first, and then I can deep dive into what's in the behind the scene?
Let's do it. Here we go. So check out this video, everybody.
For too long, greatness has been defined by the grind, the relentless pursuit. Pain is power. Struggle is strength. Play has no place in sport. But at Puma, we've always done things differently, championing the fearless few who show up exactly as they are. Unapologetically authentic, joyful pioneers. Those who know that greatness is measured by the courage to play your own way. Your story makes you strong. Your journey is yours to define. Move the world like only you can, because greatness is in your nature.
Wow. And actually, just before that video played, we had a question in the chat from actually Omniverse Ambassador. This is John Mitchell from BMW. He asked, hey, do you use Omniverse for that Puma ad campaign? So yes.
Yeah. And besides the film, of course, I want to focus on what's behind the scene and how we got from A to B, the method that we're trying to implement along the way. So going back to, if we can go to the next slide, and going back to what Peter was mentioning about digital twin integration, after bringing the product to the pre-visualization stage in Omniverse, we gain full control over the generation process. And this, of course, includes the cameras, which are critical for meeting brand guidelines regarding lens choices, camera angles, and most, of course, importantly, the product accuracy. So basically, the starting point with Omniverse serves as our primary source of correctness throughout the process, and to be able to generate the shots that we need. And going back to film, to place the product in context, which in this case, the Puma film, we rely on our agentic framework. The framework basically employs a set of specialized agents assigned to specific creative roles to maintain a consistent cinematic language and define the film's overall style. And it basically ensures that all generations align with the intended look and direction while preserving product fidelity by leveraging Omniverse, which it supports for the USD format to be able to incorporate the detailed CAD models. So, and on top of it, considering how I started my explanation about it serves as our primary source of correctness, we actually generate, we use our USD-based models to generate synthetic data, basically the data preparation, to be able to feed it into agents as a trained AI models to maintain accuracy and cohesive look. And basically this process from an AI point of view is basically denoising along the way while keeping everything in line from a look, overall the filmic look, and the product accuracy basically. And if we if we go to next slide, we can actually, while doing this, we actually use a bunch of different agentic frameworks and node-based development environments. The one that we see on the screen is which Susan was mentioning in the beginning when she was explaining about Pathways. Pathways is a node-based internal tool which we develop nodes, which we call them neurons, depending on the context. We tailor it depending on the context. And from all our findings, we use Pathways to orchestrate all the connection between the Omniverse, the agentic framework, and all the development along the way. And the reason we're using node-based environment is it basically becomes more modular, and we can actually swap things. And to be able to explain that better, in the next slide, when we look at the flow, we can actually see specific tool stacks used, which Persona is the internal tool too, which we feed the information. But when it comes to Pathways, which is the orchestration, and we have the Creative Studio. Creative Studio is actually leveraging and taking inside the initial structure of the product from Omniverse, and of course the pre-trained model, which came from Omniverse environment by leveraging the USD format. And most importantly, which is slowly changing, what I'm going to say, because there's some new stuff happening, is we develop some neurons which can actually directly connect the NIMs to be able to pull specific large language models to act as a brain for all the agentic framework. So now in this context, why I said it's changing, because considering NVIDIA coming up with a Brev environment, which we can leverage enterprise level GPUs, they have direct connection to NIMs, which makes it more easier to pull them depending on the context and use it for different purposes. And the advantage of NIMs comes into place is inside the NIMs, they are modular too. So sometimes framework gets too complicated, specific large language models doesn't perform well. So we can actually swap them depending on the task of that creative agent or collaboration of that creative agent, and distribute it along the way to make that orchestration more efficient so that it fits to our expectation for the output quality of the craft. So, just to touch base, I know we're seeing Cosmos in that video generation path too. As we know, Cosmos is generative world foundation model, which simulates and understands the environment. But we just went through an experiment to be able to implement a couple of shots in the film, because we had direct connection to NIMS, and Omniverse feed it in for the product. So we kind of thought, okay, why don't we experiment with Cosmos too? And we actually implemented a couple of shots to generate some of our clips. So yeah, that's, that gives a little bit of information towards what's going on and, behind the scene to be able to create this Kuma film.
Amazing.
There's some really important stuff here as well that, over the last couple of years, lots of questions have been asked about the possibility of generative AI in these sorts of production grade workflows, and product consistency, camera control, lighting. One model isn't going to necessarily one shot prompt to create something like that Puma app, right? And this is what we've been talking about with Monks and with brands for a long time, is the workflows that people will be able to build by collaborating with, not just with NVIDIA, right, but with Runway, with Stability, with Black Forest Labs, with 11 Labs, the people building these incredible models and creating stuff like what you've done with Pathways and these workflows answers those questions and takes it to a whole new level. And
That's
stuff like this is the stuff that's going to evolutionize that content supply chain. The models themselves are part of it, and it's a really powerful thing. But the intelligence here is like you're recreating that production workflow in a way that allows it to be controlled, but also automated and scale in an incredible way. And when I first saw this, like it was like that's what we've been trying to get to. So well done, Emra.
Okay.
And lots of other people, but well done, Emma.
And I just want to interject really quickly here to tie it back to perhaps the client side. If there's any business leads on the call that aren't super technical, this speaks volumes to our clients. The fact that we can output, content cheaper, faster, better, more, it's in the range of 60% cheaper than what you would spend on a normal production. And if you didn't know, that film that we just showed was 100% created with AI, everything from the briefing phase to the scripts, to the storyboards, to the direction. There was no shoot, there was no talent, all the way through delivery. That took a job that would normally in the production space be, 12 weeks down to, 4 to 5 weeks with a crew of 20 people. So it eliminates production. There was no director. So when clients start hearing that and going, oh my gosh, you can do it with these tools and these highly customizable tools that we can adapt for our organization, that just absolutely speaks volumes to the CMO and the CTO.
Absolutely. I mean, it really lowers the bar for accessibility, I think, which is all about. And I want to actually touch on two quick things because Emma mentioned Brev and you mentioned NIMS. And for people who are not familiar with either of those, Brev is NVIDIA's online GPU cloud service. So basically, you do not have to be limited to your local hardware. You can leverage Brev, and it's very customizable. So that's number one, because we had a couple of questions in the chat about people how people can leverage some of the needs here. So Brev is a good solution to look at. You also mentioned NIMS, which we talked about before, but just in case people don't know, that stands for NVIDIA Inference Microservices. Inference meaning AI. So I put the links for both of those in the chat if you want to dive further into them. But it's really amazing to see how you're leveraging all this tech together and doing this type of work, which just looks just mind blowing.
Yeah, and there is one question from a Lychee AI basically asking if the blueprint is using SDXL and ConfUI. This stable diffusion you can basically run in NIM as microservice. And then Omniverse USD Composer communicates with NIM, which runs the generative AI pipeline for you. And then I wanted to do one more point with Omniverse in this, let's say, agentic AI solution. There is an analogy I like to say is once you have LLMs and your agents and you ask them mathematical questions, they go and use tools. So they go use calculator, retrieve the answer, and then tell you the right answer. Same I see happening for any agentic solution using Omniverse for physics, simulations, calculations, and then, of course, product accuracy and visualization. So basically, you can see how our agents here in this system could request Omniverse pipeline to do something very specific for them, which Omniverse does the best, provide the answer, and then it goes up the funnel to the final answer or final generation. So,
I noticed two questions. One of them is 3D conditioning. We did try, it says SDXL and ComfUI. Yeah, we did try SDXL. We did try SD, but I think the best possible output came from Black Forest. So we implemented mostly Flux, and we merged two worlds basically. And for 3D conditioning, yes, but the 3D conditioning happens in the base diffusion model, node-based designs too. Omniverse is mostly, so if we actually involve too much of diffusion process in Omniverse, we kind of lose the accuracy level. So we have to keep it a little bit siloed on the side to be able to extract what we need. It might be output of an image. It might be output of a pass, normal pass, def pass, or anything what we need. So that actually process worked better.
Yeah,
and
but the layers you saw, those were like conditioned. So based on the objects in the background.
Yes, yes. But that comes from our custom environment, basically. What I meant was the actual Omniverse inside Omniverse.
Yeah. I think it speaks to the the point of our blueprints, right, is not a product or something that we just want people to go and use as is, like Peter was saying earlier, right? It's a perfect example of what Emma and the team did, was look at that blueprint, talk to others about what the concept and the idea is, saw what was underneath, and evolved it and turned it into something that had a different AI model, which was giving them better results. And that's kind of the whole point about ecosystem interoperability, about node-based workflows, is that you aren't building a monolithic application that does one thing and then sits in perpetuity until you release a 6-month or 12-month update. These things can evolve. We love Black Forest Labs, but let's say Recraft come out with something that's incredible as well, and you want to drop a Recraft model in there. The way these things are built means that you can do exactly that.
Yep. That's why if you set up NIMs and then decide whichever model you want to run, you can swap them. We tested ourselves a couple of models, SDXL, Flux, and so on, to find the best use case for each specific section in the movie.
Amazing. I highly encourage people to check out the build page. So it's build.nvidia.com, where you can see these models and blueprints and fool around with them.
And even play with them. That's what I love. There is interactive demos. So
yeah.
For 3D conditioning, the coffee maker, I use it so many times as a reference. So
it's very cool. And I can't say how awesome it is of your team to actually share your learnings, your journey here. I think it's so incredibly helpful to all the developers out there, as we can see in the chat. So thank you so much for sharing all this. I'd actually like to also touch on how, for companies there that might be curious about how you got to work directly with NVIDIA and how that relationship came about. And I'm guessing, Jamie, maybe you were part of that in the beginning, or I'm not sure.
Yeah, I've been working with the Monks team for 4 or 5 years. I think I've been I've known about these guys for a long time. We've been on a great journey together. The company has evolved over the last few years in a really great positive way, right? We're always looking for companies who see what's happening down the road, and that they recognize that the services that they're capable of and the business model that needs to evolve, and they do it quickly, right? NVIDIA, as most people will know, is a company that can, we're very large, but we can pivot on a dime, and we like partners who can move dynamically and quickly as well. And that's what certainly I've always recognized in Monks in the last few years, like more and more, like hundreds of people at NVIDIA working with this team now. I think they're a great example of move fast, break stuff, right? Which again is so aligned to how NVIDIA works. Like the stuff I've seen from not just from Peter and Emra, but from hundreds of other developers across Monks has always been, top quality and doing stuff really quickly. And now, Peter, it's your opportunity to say how great it is working with NVIDIA and how wonderful I am as well.
It's amazing. I think past 2 years, we were part of this journey, seeing not only Omniverse transforming and evolving, but also introduction of the NIMs, introduction of the blueprints, and it just helped us enormously to move fast. And that's why we are super happy to showcase already some things we've done with Omniverse or NVIDIA Tech in general out there in production in public eyes. And then I think my next point will be, once we have this set up, you have agentic AI workflows, we have Monks Flow, we have Omniverse set up, then it's very reusable for the future use cases. So we did a couple of other iterations with Omniverse, maybe just 1 minute to show you. Emra, do you want to cover this slide?
Yes. Yeah, sure. Honestly, it's going to be short. I think considering all the mentions of internal tools and NVIDIA's Omniverse to NIMS to Brev, the pathways, persona, and other tools that actually live under the ecosystem of Monks Flow. That's where we're building this ecosystem so that we can actually have a more efficient connection around tailoring and curating what we need. Because when it comes to agents, it's an evolving environment. You cannot get stuck with one single approach. So we're trying to keep it modular from a tool stack point of view and collecting everything under Monks Flow as a solution, which basically reflects the ecosystem. Yeah, please go ahead, Peter.
Yes. And I wanted to I forgot about that slide. Sorry, Jamie. But basically, the collaboration was evolving, maturing. Your system were making it easier for us, and we have already a couple of solutions integrated into Monks Flow. So I cannot wait what other use cases will bring out there to the public, to our clients, and then celebrate them at GTC and other events. So it's been amazing.
I mean, like also like outside of the we talked a lot here about the content supply chain and the USD and Omniverse stuff, right? But there's work we do together in broadcast and media, in retail, in tech, working together with some really big technology companies. I nearly said some names then, but I forget that we're live and we're under NDA, so I won't mention who, but some super exciting technology integrations in smart spaces and our Metropolis technologies, and the breadth is incredible, which is why we trust partners who work really closely with us, and this goes all the way down to our community members and our ambassadors, right? We identify and work with people who want to work with us. We're a collaboration and developer company, right? We want to be developer to developer, architect to architect, and that's how we create things with our ecosystem. So it's a perfect example of that happening.
Yeah, exactly. And we have a couple of hints what we are looking at or working on. So basically, here I just had high-level architecture. Check it out more in detail, but in a nutshell, you have UI, you have server-side, keyed up application, streaming, NIM services for, let's say, generative AI pipelines, and then 3D asset database. But once you have those, then you can basically work on top of any OpenUSD files. You can bring them to, we bring them to our Omniverse solution. You can bring them to yours, but then the logic stayed the same. So we did a couple of other iterations using living room backgrounds with some furniture. And on the background, you can go as detailed as you want. You can have a couple of boxes, or if you can imagine, you can have almost like a digital twin of your own space. So this was one where we kind of reused very similar architecture. There was almost like zero development efforts to do this once we finished Puma use case. Here is just to answer a question about Cosmos. So for example, as you see, the first use cases were focused on images, but if you move forward and start thinking how we can do guided video generation, then again, on the left, you can see we have simple dummy scene in Omniverse, generate the video, the dev map out of it, and then we send it to Gen AI. So one example is using Cosmos. For more realistic use cases, maybe more in physical AI space, either manufacturing, smart cities, and so on. As you can see, I tried to add some simulation of cyclist. I'm a big fan of public transport, so it's a bit small. And then here on the right top, it's one of our developers having fun with running avatars and generating a more gaming use case. And then I think this is the last one. So USD Composer really great at synthetic data and creating synthetic data sets. This is one use case where we were trying to extract lighting conditions and material, let's say, reflections out of the 3D scene, and then help guide the background generation using that model. So what we did is in USD Composer, we created a 3D scene, set up the lighting, use different NVIDIA assets out of the box, just drop it there, and then we generated, I think here I have 3 different images. One is RGB, then there is a shade material images, and then dev map. And then it all went to one model architecture, and we kind of trained a model which was able to help guide the generation of the backgrounds according to the 3D scene lighting, which was super cool. So this one is like super technical, more on the ML side, but this was also a great use case of Omniverse.
Amazing.
Cool. And here is just a quick recap of some of our use cases. As I said, we do have Omniverse architecture running, and it can be plugged into any agentic AI workflow or any workflow across any industry. So we already look at some real estate construction. We bring some buildings into life. In aviation, we did some virtualization, and we have some other interesting leads more on replicating digital twins of some assets, facilities, aircrafts, and so on. Waiting for AI factory blueprint, because I really hope we'll do more there on data centers and industrial factories in general. On the CPG product side, we basically cover this with the Puma use case and assets at scale, where we use digital twins to generate a lot of content.
And I want to interject, Peter, really quickly. Like, this is where a lot of our clients start. A lot of clients, they hear about this, they want to get started, they don't know how to start. We say start small, and then we help you scale. And especially in the retail and CPG area, you know, we have a beauty client, we have a packaging company, we have a bottle company, or a beverage company, I should say, where they all want to digital twin their products, be able to swap out labels very quickly, be able to swap out new product, and then they want to scale that content. A lot of clients aren't sure how to get started. So that's a great opportunity for a partnership with NVIDIA and Monks, where we can bring NVIDIA solutions to the table. We can build them the tools, we can build them the configurators, and then we can help get that off the ground with them and then scale that out. We're doing a project right now with a large automotive company where we have 5 sort of POCs in the works. Where we're going to be helping them scale. And it's a huge endeavor. We also have another client in the hospitality area who wants to digital twin all their hotels globally. I mean, that's a huge, huge opportunity right there. And they admit their systems are sort of stuck in the 90s. So that's an opportunity where we bring in NVIDIA and we help them scale those solutions, get up to speed with their architecture internally, and get it out there for them. So I just wanted to throw that in.
Yep, same applies for cut-to content. Once we have digital twins, 3D assets, then we can easily generate any content. So that helps a lot. And here I mentioned already digital humans, NVIDIA ACE platform. Also, there is a blueprint for those who are interested. You can run your own AI avatar. We use it mostly for conversational AI projects, experiences, and so on. On synthetic data, I showed you a quick example. And then also we see our potential in robotics, because we have an amazing team who build those robots you can see from scratch, bottom up. So we are happy to bring some NVIDIA hardware in, and then also maybe some training with NVIDIA NeMo and maybe Cosmos. So hopefully either next GTC, latest, we'll have some great example in robotics.
Yep.
Amazing.
And I think that's kind of it. I will just, for developers out there, I wanted to call out 2 other cool tools which I find related to OpenUSD and why everything is a bit easier. And it's USD Search and USD Code. Check those out. USD Search really helps you to find any 3D assets in huge databases, unlabeled, unorganized database of 3D assets. And USD Code can actually help you write some extensions on top of USD format. So if you need to do something in USD Composer programmatically, USD Code is your assistant to do it. So
that's great. What a great plug. Peter, you're hired. That's great. We had a few minutes left. We got some great questions. Leave this on the screen. So this QR code is going to connect to the Monk website, or you're on LinkedIn? The QR code on the screen, where does that go to?
It should go to contact form.
Perfect. Okay, cool. So I highly encourage everybody to get in touch. Follow the work on LinkedIn, obviously. Okay, let's see if we can get a couple of these questions. We got a good question here from Justin Connors. I'll show it on the screen. Is it possible to use an MCP server for accessing Monks with my own AI development? That's a great question. I'm sure other people are wondering the same thing.
Yes, this is a great question, which gives a glimpse of the near future. Is it accessible right now? No, because we're actually in a process of merging the MCP servers with specific tasks. So we can actually automate certain agentic frameworks without building them again, which connects to racks and for specific purposes, we will be creating some servers. Maybe a couple of them will be open to pull as a server, but of course, to be able to support everything, that might need another approach. So I don't think it will be a overall connection, but maybe it will be a server which does a specific task without involving in the complex form of that agentic framework.
Amazing. Okay, cool. So great things lie ahead. Look at this. Really good comments coming in from LinkedIn. And this was another comment, so I think we showed them some behind the scenes work already. Okay, and regarding events, I heard you guys will be at SIGGRAPH next month in Vancouver.
Yes, we'll have a presence there. Yep.
Amazing. So that is actually another great reason to attend conferences like SIGGRAPH and GTC, because you get to meet and engage with teams like Monks. And like I said earlier, I think like if you have one good meeting at a conference, it usually makes the whole expense of the conference worth it. So highly recommend you go for that. I actually just posted a couple minutes ago. I didn't mention it earlier. So super secret discount code that gives you a free exhibits only pass. And I put it in the chat. So feel free to leverage that code. It's NVID 1348. The exhibits only pass actually gets you a lot more than just the exhibits only pass. It gives you access to all the keynotes, RTX rendering day, OpenUSD day, their DLI training in our business suites, Expo Hall, obviously, some industry sessions, there's a job fair, an ACM SIGGRAPH award presentation. So that's a pretty good discount code. And I hope people who are in the area, let your friends know. Let's make it a nice big party for developers. It's going to be a lot of fun. Okay, so let me see. Did we? I think Amelia was hard at work here in the background, showing off, starting some questions. Let me see. Here we go. We talked about this a little bit earlier, but I think it's great to answer now again. This is from Freddie Punches. Very cool name, Freddie. How might upcoming artists on a shoestring budget use Monks and NVIDIA powered AI tools to turn one song into eye-catching visual or ads that reach new listeners? So this all comes back down to the question of accessibility on this tech,
Yes.
right?
Currently, Monks Slow, our orchestration tool, is proprietary. So we focus it on Monks internal use plus our clients use. So it's not publicly available easily. Lots of security restrictions, as you can imagine. But on the NVIDIA and what we showed, I really recommend check out those blueprints.
Yeah.
We do have, let's say, 3D conditioning there, which has generative AI pipeline for images. So you can play with this.
Yep. Do the trainings, play around as much as you can. They have tons of trainings online as well. I would say do those.
Yeah, highly recommend the DLI. I think it was talked about a little earlier. And obviously our Discord server is an amazing place for the community to ask questions among each other. If you get stuck, there's a bug, you can go to the forums where NVIDIA team will definitely help you. And you're always looking for feedback. And if there's a missing gap, you find that there's a tutorial that should be there that's not, absolutely let us know, because we want to make sure everybody has easy access and use of these amazing tools that your team has made use of with a relatively small number of developers too. So I think the name of the game is just lowering the barrier to accessibility, which you could demonstrate very nicely here.
There's something I want to add about that question as well, right? As someone who formerly was a creative artist working on shoestring budgets using, Premiere 3.4 or whatever it was 20 something years ago, the amount of creative tools and AI tools available now for free mostly from this ecosystem, it grows every single day. I think we just saw today Moon Valley released a new one of their AI video models online. You can go to places like Leonardo and BFL and and just get access to these AI models, and you can I think the question around from a song, right? There's tools and partners in this ecosystem where you can put a song in there and get incredible examples of what you could produce. And so I work with loads of creatives who are just exploring these tools every single day, and that's where I'd start. Right, this ecosystem is rich for individual creators and creatives today. So the imagination is the only limit now. As cringe and cliched as it sounds, right, it really is possible. It's a lot easier than it was when I was using Canon XM1s and Premiere, whatever it was, to make skating videos.
But I have to say, that's what fosters innovation. You have
Yeah.
zero budget, limited tools, and you come up with your own way to do it. It's just,
I
that's
agree. I think that I'm always blown away. There is on the Discord server, which Amelia has posted a link for in the chat. We have a channel called Share Your Work, and I'm always blown away by what people are showing there. Most of those projects are either single developers or small teams, and really, really taking full advantage. So if you want inspiration, in addition to these live streams, go to that Share Your Work channel on our Discord server. You could see what other people are doing, and also feel free to ask questions of those developers. Okay, we have a couple other questions here. We'll see if we can get to really quickly. One is from Tom, who's asking, how are Monks using data flywheels and tools like Nemo to improve models? Did you cover this a little earlier or no?
We didn't cover it for these use cases, but more on the conversational AI or brand models where we have basically LLM RAG knowledge-based solutions. Then yes, Nemo for data curation, pre-processing of the data, and manipulations with the data. So in a nutshell, Nemo, yes, not necessarily for the use cases we showed today, but for others, yes.
Okay, awesome. This is great. All right, I'm going to share a couple of quick things on the screen. We've got here some great QR codes that will let people access upcoming live streams and office hours. We have our calendar. That's the events QR code there. Official support, go to the forums for most things NVIDIA. Some things like Isaac Lab, if you're leveraging Isaac Lab, that's on GitHub. But feel free to ask us if you're not sure where to go. That Discord server, there's a QR code for that I mentioned. And then we have our community page, which lists all of our ambassadors, several of which are here, including Muramar Bey, otherwise known as Lychee AI, amazing developer producing great content. Also, I saw Scott Dempsey, who actually just provided some great feedback for Isaac Sim on our forums. I also saw John Mitchell from BMW, who had a great comment before about the Puma. So great to see everyone actively involved. We have hundreds of people watching now. So what I wanted to ask you all before we go, in these last final seconds, is if you have any parting words of wisdom or guidance for the people. You seem to have a mix of people watching. I'm sure we have a lot of companies that are also watching, seeing how they can leverage it. What would you say to these folks? We'll start with Jamie and work our way down.
Cool. I mean, the thing that I always encourage, and I used the term earlier, move fast, break stuff, try new ideas. Like, things are moving so fast today that you need to constantly be innovative and looking at new ideas and figuring out what those paths are with the technology available.
That's great. Great advice. Okay, Susan.
I come from a client perspective, so I would say start small and scale. The future of AI is not going to fit into containers of the past.
Well, wow, that was super wise words. Okay, cool. So Peter, now you have to beat that. Good luck.
I will do both. Client side, yes, I agree with Susan. Let's build some quick prototypes, showcase the potential, and then scale it up. And for developers and technical folks, I would recommend invest time to get your first Omniverse setup done, because then it's really reusable and really easy to use for so many use cases. So
That's
get
great.
your first setup, and then you can have so many ideas how you can use it, inform your creative teams, inform your sales teams.
Yeah, and you really helped to make it easy for people to understand the flow of getting on board with some of this stuff.
Day to day, basically, have a solution and then try to explain what potential it has.
Amazing. Okay, very cool. Emra.
Hard one, but I think most important thing is, as Jamie mentioned too, there's so many free and available tools that we can learn and use compared to what we had in hand before. But I think the mindset slowly departing from a romantic view of creativity. So with this procedural and more multi-layered systems, emerges from this interaction between human insight and machine intelligence. So what I'm trying to say is it's not about replacing. It's about building an ecosystem where machines take on specific creative roles based on intention and context to help us and collaborate. So at least that's our effort, and that's where we are passionate about to push it farther. and to leverage AI and machine learning.
Yeah, that's absolutely. I couldn't agree more. Amazing, amazing. All of you have been amazing this whole hour, and all of you in the audience have been amazing this whole hour. Great comments, great questions. So if this kind of live stream is helpful to you in any way, I highly encourage you to subscribe to the channel. And if you want to get notified when we go live, definitely hit that bell. But also like this specific live stream, if this kind of content is something you want to see more of, that really helps us. Speaking of following, I highly recommend also that you consider following the Omniverse LinkedIn channel, where we're always posting really interesting content, including something that one of my colleagues, great colleagues, Ashley Goldstein, just posted a nice video here on how to leverage Kit. So please take a look at that channel. As I mentioned, I think last week, we have also a great event coming up. This is next week, actually, for even anyone involved with education and with students included. We have AI for All, empowering educators and learners. I'll be moderating one session, and one of my other colleagues is moderating the other one. But these are happening next Tuesday and Thursday. One is regarding for educators, and one is how to uplevel your skills. So I highly recommend, if that fits you, definitely check out this this website for it. We'll post a link in the chat. If you miss it, just go to Discord. We'll be right there. And obviously, I want to also just call out, really, I try to make at least one mention of some really cool news that was shared by a developer in the community. This was posted just the other day. We'll share it in the chat also. But this is basically a developer in the community leveraging Isaac Sim and Isaac Lab, a brand new tutorial video they created. And if you like, I highly encourage you can follow me on LinkedIn, because I usually repost and share all this stuff. So you'll see a nice running kind of list of all the great stuff happening in the community, and also when we have important news to share. You can get to my LinkedIn page very easily by just going to edmar.net. It'll bring you right to my LinkedIn page, and feel free to follow me and send me any message if I can help with anything at all. Once again, I want to thank everybody for joining us today. Jamie, Susan, Emra, Peter. I also have to thank your colleague who is also with us, Sarah, who is helping in the background. Amelia, our amazing producer, the marketing team. Your team has been very helpful. I've had a really fun time all throughout this process. I cannot wait to see you at SIGGRAPH, Susan, and also next time we can show off your work on the live stream. Thank you, everybody, for watching. This has been a fantastic hour. We'll see you next time.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.